to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in.
Was that an updated graphic?
That was a stupid updated graphic that Andy missed on the YouTube. It didn't say with the producers like usual.
What did it say?
Said with the League of Record Champions, and it had the picture of the champs.
Well, there's Al Borland.
Al Borland, the king. The king. Give him the applause, Jason.
Yeah,
the people
there
love
you
it.
Go. I'm so happy for
the
you.
People love.
Oh, he's got all the graphics ready. It's not fair when you produce the show and you're the champ. You get to just do.
Oh, no, get it out of there.
I did expect some festivities here as he's in his
good work.
He's in the crown. He's in the robe.
Oh man, so good.
He's still ravaged with illness after, not sleeping and probably cardiovascular issues going on this week. But congratulations, Al.
Thank you. I accept.
This was year 18 in League of Record, which is shocking.
And I feel like we shouldn't say that out loud.
And
feels like we're old as dirt. 18 years.
People know how old we are.
Yeah, I know, but
we're
saying it out loud.
We're in our late 30s.
Exactly. Gross.
Our late 30s. Tuesday, December 31st. Congratulations to not just Al, but all the champions out there.
Yes. Congratulations.
But not Mike.
Oh.
No, I didn't win. Everybody.
I already gave you a 21-gun salute this morning because when you walked in, when we dragged you in, well, first we saw you weeping in your car out front.
Yeah, we had to go to the vehicle.
Pull you out of the vehicle and say, this is our
12 straight hours. I need an IV. I'm very dehydrated.
Because you're the one person that is dehydrated from tears. But last night, with 3 minutes left on the clock, Dan High T. Campbell and his Lions offense.
This guy.
He wasn't lying.
Nope,
he rolled out
not.
Jahmyr Gibbs, who went around the right end and ended
3 minutes left.
Mike's season. He lost
You got so close.
He lost by 2 points. He went into the second half up 32 points. His opponent had Debo, Laporta, and Gibbs, none of whom had scored in the first half. And all three in succession scored in the second half to just eviscerate Mike's soul.
Debo, at least he had a fantastic game. He had a catch.
Yes.
He had a catch, guys.
He had an end-around run on a drive he had not been out there the entire drive. Only, I think, because
100%.
Because George Kittle came off the field injured after a big catch.
Yes.
And the personnel grouping had to change. But yes, Mike, for those of you out there that didn't win, you have a friend.
I'm dead.
You have Mike and I, who both won last year, both were back in the title games, and both lost our repeat opportunities.
That was a bad one. That one felt like it was.
All I could think of was that you will forever have the answer.
Yeah, I do.
You'll have the answer to the question we get asked, which is, what is your worst championship game memory, or worst playoff defeat, or worst defeat? Any of those.
You had to watch the whole thing with stress and worry.
Yep.
And it took the entire thing to make
and
sure
you were
that
bleeding
you were
out point by point, and you were right. I could feel
What a brutal game we play.
Yes, but like at the same time, had that not happened, that victory was going to feel so good. And unfortunately, we're down to 3 minutes, and the Lions are having just an incredible drive of melting out the clock, and they're going to do it. Like, they didn't have to score. They just needed to eat the clock up, but then San Francisco is so inept on their rushing defense that Jahmyr Gibbs ripped off the 30. I mean, every time Jahmyr Gibbs touched the ball.
Has this been up here the whole time?
Yeah, he threw that up early, the score of the League of Record.
Yep, all right.
Every time Gibbs touched the ball last night was like
terror.
He could go.
Yes, and he almost did several times.
Yes.
there are a lot of people that were on the other side of the Gibbs situation last night that won titles on the back of Jahmyr Gibbs. I have literally thousands of messages from FootClan title winners that just snuck by. I saw somebody that overcame starting Cooper Kupp 3 consecutive weeks.
Oh, wow.
And won a championship with 3 weeks of Cooper Kupp. And, Mike, you came in, you were like, man, what if I had CeeDee Lamb? What if CeeDee Lamb hadn't got benched in this final week?
Yeah, that would have been cool, man.
I mean, you talk about week 18.
Or Ken Bone Walker?
Or Ken Bone Walker.
Yeah, that would have been cool, too.
Yeah, I mean.
You lost both of them before the championship?
Or Ford mid-game.
Yeah. Yeah, just a full game of Jerome Ford, I would have won. And also, I mean, and like a shout out to Sam Laporta, who, like, if people stuck with Sam Laporta,
that was an amazing end to the season. He
had a massive run there. All the 3 playoff weeks, tight end 1. I mean, 14.6, 12.3, 15.4. Like, Laporta came through in the clutch when he was. I mean, halfway through the season, he was like every single week is. Do I drop Sam Laporta? Do I drop Sam Laporta? And he
really, I feel like
if you held on, you were rewarded.
If you had any player of relevance in this game, you were happy, other than maybe Isaac Guerrero. But even then, I feel like most people weren't relying on him since he was injured last week, and it was the last game of the week. Like I didn't see a lot of lineups that were like, oh, I need a big game from Guerrero. But if you needed Goff, if you needed Purdy, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Jameson Williams, like everybody came through.
Guerrero was still he's scored almost 12 points.
I'm going to have to stare at that the whole dang show.
Yeah. I mean, the producers got a lot of power.
The last 5 weeks of the season, Laporta was the tight end.
Oh no.
Spontaneous congratulations.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Bree, Andy's wife.
Oh!
I wanted to give my biggest congratulations to Al Borland for winning the League of Record title.
Yes!
It was a close call, but you came out victorious in the end like a true champion. Congrats.
Oh, baby.
Absolutely wrecked.
Body.
That was so sweet.
Oh, that was so sweet of her. And after I beat her in the family league to take her championship, she still came through. Andy, I would ask how you're feeling, but your face is down on the table very far from the microphone.
Does that feel like Gibbs ran a 30-yard touchdown with 3 minutes left?
Oh. That was very sweet of her.
That was so kind.
There's really we didn't need to come to work today.
It's New Year's Eve.
I hope it hurts a little bit because I've been kind and gracious, and you're still having to do this.
You have been a very kind loser.
That was my wife congratulating you on our podcast. That's great.
That was awesome.
Great. Ex-wife, but
yeah. I mean, you can file that.
Oh, the
right?
papers are drawn up now. Yeah, for
like
sure.
This is just cause.
I think even in the Bible they do say,
yeah, that's right.
That is grounds for divorce.
Yeah. Very few reasons, but calling in to a massive show to congratulate your opponent.
Fantasy football adultery of some sort.
100%.
Well, cool. I think I was saying something about Sam Laporta when I was destroyed publicly.
Oh man.
Congratulations, Al. Once again, that was my sixth. That was my 6th League of Record championship game loss.
Oh man,
an impressive
6 losses,
yeah,
3 wins, which means in 18 years, 50% of the time, I'm there. And yet
you are like officially the best loser in the league, like the number one
and the most wins too.
Yeah. Well,
speaking of best losers. Brian Ketron is my co-manager and now co-champion. He's done a full rebrand from biggest loser to biggest winner.
Oh. Well, he was almost the biggest.
Yeah,
I don't feel like this is my podcast anymore.
He was also the co-manager of the losing team for the
he was in 2 championships.
You know what?
And he won one of them.
I know.
The important one.
I know that Al Borland and company, shopballers.com, we got the FootClan title shirts. They've been flowing. The people, you got to swag out. You got to make life insufferable. You got to do what Al's doing right now. He didn't have the courage to do it yesterday, up 60. But once Gibbs didn't score an all-time record,
I think he had the plans for what we are experiencing now, and he couldn't possibly do all of this yesterday.
No.
Yeah. So all right, it all makes sense.
So shopballers.com for title shirts, fantasychamps.com for trophies. Use the code FREERING for a free ring. And that's why the code is free ring.
Right. You have to add one of the $60 rings to the cart. Just add that and the trophy or belt that you want, and then put the code free ring in, and the ring price will disappear.
Congratulations to our Megala Bowl official winner, the first member of the Listener League next year, Daryl Montgomery. And, thanks to everybody that participated in the Megala Bowl this year, the largest fantasy football tournament in the known universe. And I just want to say the record, I thought this would be interesting, right? Because, you had a lot of really spectacular records. The record for the winner was 22-10. So got to the playoffs, 240 points, a team with just perfection up and down. Burrow, Irving, Kyron, Neighbors, Higgins, Laporta, McConkey, B-Rob, and the Tampa defense who put up 17. So congratulations.
They're tied as the first person in next year's Listener League. Right. Because the Listener League winner.
Yes.
Team name Boomin Newman.
Yeah. Jarrett.
Yeah, username Jared Actor, which we have not got to the bottom of. Is it Jared Actor?
I'm not sure if he's an actor or if this is a dinosaur thing.
Is this a pterodactyl reference? But Jared,
probably a dinosaur reference.
Jared Actor. Yeah.
He had
congratulations.
Burrow, Dobbins, Cook, Chase, Bowers, Higgins, super stack. So congratulations. A lot of winners out there. Some hard luck losers like Mike. And, a lot of people that are going to have a lot of fun with their titles and some that are going to want to quit the game. And I just say give it a couple weeks to calm down.
Yeah. And then you have
unfortunately,
everybody
Mike
who
is quitting the show.
Say, give yourself a couple weeks or wake up to an alarm and come into work and talk about how awesome it was that everybody won a bunch of championships.
Oh man,
one of those things you could choose to do.
There weren't many words from Mike from that moment.
No.
I shut it down, man.
Once Gibbs ran it in, it was like it was over.
Because once you get
there was a fumble by Debo, which I was like, what
after the Gibbs touchdown,
guys?
Mike's final words were dead. He said dead and disappeared.
I, of course, finished watching the game just in case they did an end around with Debo and he fumbled it.
Because it would have
been minus. It would have been enough to win.
I knew.
Of course, I'm going to watch through.
Yes.
But yeah,
I got a really bad feeling there's more spontaneous congratulations coming.
I would be really disappointed.
I'd be
if there weren't.
shocked if there weren't.
I don't think there is.
All right, we'll talk news.
News and notes from around the league, presented by USAA Insurance.
All the drops. I don't know if you just saw that.
Oh, did that one get changed
All the
too?
drops have been changed.
Play it again.
Wait,
I
what?
want to see it.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
Is it going to work? Al,
right.
you got to fire that one off back there.
Yeah. Al has.
News and notes from around the league, presented by USAA Insurance.
I don't think. Well, I don't know if our sponsors approved.
When your co-manager,
two ugly guys on that drop.
Your co-manager is the graphic guy, so.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's the producer with the guy who does the graphics. That's a pretty good combo for some celebration.
All right, I'm gonna blitz the.
We
news.
have other segments on today's show.
Unfortunately, we have waivers and
can't
stuff.
wait.
Gross.
Brock Purdy left with a elbow injury.
Dude,
it's not great heading into contract time.
No,
he's had this issue twice now.
Well, he had the
UCL, right?
I thought it was.
It was the UCL.
I thought he had the Tommy John surgery.
He had UCL, and then I guess the UCL's okay.
But
it's a nerve issue.
His face on the sideline.
He was almost crying.
Was like because I'm sure inside his brain he went, it happened again.
Yeah.
It happened again.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sign a contract to be the franchise quarterback for the 49ers, and it freaking happened again.
And he's a good quarterback and deserves the contract.
We really hope that he's okay.
Let me see here. Chase Brown, Bengals offensive coordinator, hopeful he can play, but they've said they have trust in Khalil Herbert. It's a must-win game against the Steelers. I don't know do we know how the timing works out?
The NFL usually adjusts the schedules on Week 18 to make sure that
they do. There is some weirdness though, because I think are they a Saturday game? I know the Steelers play before the Ravens. Kyle, is that correct? Because there's some weirdness of
no, the Ravens and Browns play Saturday.
I had it flip flopped. Okay, so
they play
the Steelers.
early.
The Steelers will know if they have a chance to win the division or not.
Right.
and they won't.
No,
right?
because
the
Ravens
are
18-point favorites.
Yeah.
Right.
And they could win literally with their hands tied behind their back against the Browns. Maybe Jalen Waddle will come back. I don't know why they do that, but they are right on the cusp, so I guess they'll try. Status in question. Aaron Jones able to participate in the team's walkthrough.
They need Aaron Jones.
James Conner, TBD, took a shot to the same knee.
I think for him, what he's looking for is to start the game and then get out so that the game log says I played a full season.
Cedric Tillman on IR. He will not play. He hasn't played since week 12.
Goodness, dude.
With the concussion. There is an article on our site. We're going to go through some of the team motivation situations, but there's a great article by Matthew Betts himself, Week 18 playoff motivation, player incentives on thefantasyfootballers.com if you want to go through in detail. Otherwise,
oh, there we go. There we go. Hey!
Spontaneous congratulations.
Hey, guys, this is Caleb, Andy's son.
Oh, my
I just wanted to
goodness!
congratulate Al Borland on the amazing win and for beating my dad for the rightful victory.
Yes.
A win for you is a win for all of us.
Oh, yes! Oh, one of the best episodes of all time here on New Year's Eve.
Oh!
Andy has to be so happy that tonight at the stroke of midnight we turn to a new year because you are getting straight bodied.
It's wild because I was like, we were talking, Mike was super tilted going into the week for his repeat. I really wasn't. I was like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. I now really wish I had won. It would have been much.
Man.
You're raising a good kid there, Caleb. Thank you very much, buddy.
The problem is I got more kids. I have too many family members. Brock Bowers needs 9 receptions to break the single-season all-time record for tight end. This week, Anthony Richardson, if he's healthy, he'll start in a meaningless game for the –
It's not meaningless for Anthony Richardson.
No, it isn't. Tajay Spears status up in the air. Tony Pollard bonuses on the line, but I don't know. I don't know if he'll be out there.
With the injury to Spears, I mean, if Pollard, he's 83 rushing yards away from 1,100 to get $250,000, 2 rushing touchdowns from another $250,000. I mean, TBD if he plays, but if he's active, I think they'll try to get him those
You know what I'm supposed to do right after work today?
You are supposed to get your son his driver's license.
Yeah, the son.
I think plans have changed.
I don't think he's going to be driving anytime soon.
Yeah. Whoops.
Whoopsies.
Hey, there's
bad
consequences.
timing. Consequences for your actions.
Free speech. You say what you want.
Yeah.
I'm one of those drive at 18 guys now.
There you go.
A couple years.
Did you say the part, Andy, of the Titans have said both Mason Rudolph and Will Levis will play?
Yeah,
the Titans. I mean,
when you got 2 quarterbacks, how many quarterbacks you got?
You got 0.
You got 0.
But when you got Will Levis, you have 0.
You also have 0. You have 1.
Just no matter what.
what do you, Callahan, brother?
You've seen enough.
You saw it week 1, and you're like, that's all I need to know. Because then it happened again in week 2. Like this is not the answer.
We'll take a break, collect ourselves, and be back in a second.
The Titans have.
I'm so tempted to shut the show down. Just hit the outro button right now.
Well, the problem is the outro graphic. I don't think you're going to want to see it. There's no escaping. So the Titans right now are sitting with the number 2 pick, but that really is, for their purposes, kind of the number 1. I mean, as it stands, the Patriots have the number 1 pick, and they're not going to go with a quarterback after drafting. No way. They are fully behind Drake May. They could trade it.
They could trade him. They could trade May.
They're not trading May.
No, May will be their quarterback next year.
I don't think that's happening. But I mean, someone can trade up to get the number 1 pick.
We'll see. We'll see. You're probably right.
That would be
but you could
that would
be
be
wrong.
insanity.
Um,
Drake May looks like he has a future.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the situations here going into Week 18, because if you are playing in a Week 18 title game, first of all, I feel worse for you than I even do for Mike.
Thank you.
But if you're there, let's talk about motivations. The Chiefs will start Carson Wentz, going to rest a ton of their starters. They're playing a Broncos team that is now 10-point favorites who desperately need to win and will win this game at home.
There was further reports, too, of like Wentz might not even play the whole game.
Yes, they're going to potentially go with McNee or something like that. I don't remember what his name is.
I think it's McElbow.
yeah.
It's McGroin.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wait, there was a Matt McGloin. Remember?
Yeah,
for the Raiders.
Yeah, that was a good time.
All things come back to groinindex.com. The Bills are the number 2 seed. Josh Allen has a consecutive game streak. He'll start and be out quickly in that game.
The old Cal Ripken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
I started.
I get it. Well, here's the truth. The truth is that those consecutive game streaks should be reflective of a player's durability. So, in that respect, the fact that you were going to lose it because your team's resting a player, that's not fair.
I would love if they don't even hand the ball off. Take a knee.
On his one.
On his one snap, just have Josh Allen take a knee, lose a yard, and then run off the field. It would be electric.
I want him to throw an 80-yard touchdown. That's
Allen?
like first play, just take a deep shot. You got one play.
Yeah, that's fine. Take a knee or go for the touch. Yeah, that's fine.
No handoffs. No weak handoffs.
Papa Josh just left the studio momentarily.
He went to get Jason a drink, but I saw the fear in your eyes.
Go get Jason a drink. And I'm like, what the hell's happening? Am I about to get slimed?
Here comes the bouquet.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's really getting.
I'm like checking out the rafters above you right now.
This is a real problem. But you know what? I would expect nothing less for your last day as executive producer of the show. The Texans are locked in to the number 4 seed, the Eagles. They clinched the NFC East already, the number 2 seed. Saquon Barkley needs 101 rushing yards.
Schefter was saying he would be shocked if Barkley plays in this game. I mean, it's TBD. I think we'll have more information as we get closer to the week, but it's no guarantee. I was talking about this to Mike. It's like if I was the head coach, I would not know what to do because
I asked Barkley.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you ask Barkley, and you know, I guess it's up to him. So I guess the question is, if I'm Saquon Barkley, I don't know what to do. I know what he'll say because he's such a good guy. He's going to say, Super Bowl's what matters.
He shouldn't play.
He shouldn't. He really shouldn't.
He won't want to, and the team won't want him to, because if you get hurt in this game, you're done. You're toast. The season's over.
Super Bowl goes away.
It's also too much.
It's 101. If it was like 50,
35 yards, 45 yards.
I can see him going for it, but
But they're locked in.
Which ironically, it could be 30, 40 yards.
Could have been.
If earlier in the season, remember when he was going for his career high, and the coach he asked him.
He was just beating the crap out of him.
He was just, I mean, it was so easy. And he's like, hey, you want to get your career high? He's like, no, let the other guys get some work, which, that's fine and dandy. You didn't know you were going to be on track for breaking the all-time record. But if in that game he just kept going, he could basically almost be there right now.
Atlanta really needs to win because Tampa needs to lose. Tampa needs to win to clinch. Detroit, they're locked in. They're playing Minnesota for the number 1 seed next week. Everybody will be playing on both sides. That's the biggest over-under we've seen in quite a while. I think it's 57. Washington's locked in. They'll be the 6 or 7 seed. Green Bay, same situation. The Rams are locked in. They will be the 3 or 4 seed. And, so Atlanta, Tampa, big games from both of those. Big games for both of those teams. In the AFC, Baltimore's locked in. They need to win to clinch the 3 seed in the division. They have to play the Browns. They will play their starters for a while. But I imagine that game, if it gets out of hand, they'll bench them in the second half.
Yeah, would seem so.
And Pittsburgh's battling, same situation, to try to win the North, but they'll know.
Pittsburgh, they'll
know whether the Ravens.
We should just call it right now. Like, Pittsburgh has nothing to play for. because by the time their game happens, the Ravens will have won. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if the Ravens lose to the Browns, whatever, it will change. But
I don't know how Tomlin will handle it.
Chargers are locked into the playoffs, battling for their wild card spot. Denver, Cincinnati, Miami, all battling for playoff spots. Right? So those are the big teams with the big opportunities. Broncos, they're winning, and if they win, they're in. Cortland Sutton has 82 receiving yards that he needs for an additional $500,000.
He'll get it.
He should be able to get it done, although that game could get out of hand if they score defensively.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of those things where, again, we brought this up a couple weeks ago. All the players, all the teammates, all the coaches know these guys' incentives. They're going to go into this game and say, if he ends up –
I don't agree.
It's not an opinion. It's literally not an opinion. All of these people know it. After every year, we're going to hear about it a week or two from now. I tried to get this guy the ball.
I don't agree.
How can you not agree with coaches who have in the past come out and said, we were trying to get this player the ball because he has an incentive?
Because that happens only in games that are of non-consequential situations. It doesn't happen in games where it's if you lose this game, you don't make the playoffs. They're not worried about a player's incentives for Denver trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but
they just need to win the game.
That wasn't what I was saying. I mean, in this game, it is of consequence, right? Like this is you lose and you probably don't make the playoffs. You win and you get in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so it's a game of consequence.
No. I'm saying they don't pay attention to incentives in games like this because they need to win the ball game. So it's not about the individual players' incentives in these games.
They will focus on winning more.
It's about winning the game. If they do it with 3 yards for Cortland Sutton, they won't care. That's what I'm saying.
I agree, but my point is, let's say through the game you're in the fourth quarter and he's got 60 yards. You know what I mean?
They will
that point, if he's close, you'll have a play or two called up for him. That doesn't mean he's going to get it. They knew it with Trey McBride for weeks, and you saw it every time they got around the goal line. It's like the play is for McBride. Didn't mean he got a touchdown,
right?
But they certainly try to do those things.
You see the Jonnu Smith one? So it's Jonnu Smith can earn an additional $400,000 if the team is top 20 points scored or net yards, and he plays 59% of the snaps. To get there, he would have to play 100% of the snaps this week. Gosh. So we'll see on that.
And they're playing for a playoff spot too.
Yeah,
so but it's like if they take him off the field one time, he loses that.
He'll be out on the field just like laying down, belly just going up and down.
12 man,
so
12 man
tired.
Again. I'm not leaving the 12 man again. They're moving back.
Jonnu, get off the field.
I'm not getting off the field.
Yeah, I mean,
he starts playing.
You got $400,000.
He plays defensive snaps. They bring him in at the end to like be safety because he's.
You could do that. They got a lot on the line too. They're the next up if Denver loses somehow.
Are they above the threshold for the team scoring though?
I don't know
because obviously if they're not,
been
top 20 and scored net yards seems like it.
Yeah, they've been good on offense. Yeah, we have the full article, all the player incentives, all the motivations up on the website. Like I said, thefantasyfootballers.com. Matthew Betts put that up there. That was today's news and notes presented by USAA Insurance. Learn more at usaa.com/insurance. Talk waivers briefly.
Welcome to the Waiver Wire.
Oh man, these graphics are getting better and better. If you're not on, today is a day for YouTube. Go over to youtube.com/fantasyfootballers and just enjoy the drops.
Yeah, you know what? You should be doing this, and it'll be good for your resume.
Did Brian just stay up 48 straight hours?
Oh, they had this prepped.
No question.
We didn't because we.
No, you did.
Well, the idea was prepped, but we also had versions of everything with Mike in them in case he won.
Oh, that's so
sad. In case you lost.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you don't have to tell everybody everything. You can just be like,
I was telling you that to make you feel good. We wanted you in there with us.
Wait. You were trying to make him feel good by reminding him.
You need to evaluate of what you think would make people feel better.
Yeah, my bad.
Because telling me I would have been in the graphic had Jahmyr Gibbs not run a 30-yard touchdown with 3 minutes left.
It's like telling someone, if your mom was still alive, she'd love this moment.
My bad.
I told you that to make you feel better.
They also
remember her.
Anyway, yes,
They
Brian
paid for it.
Ran over like that.
They paid for a big cake too. They threw it out, but they paid for a huge cake for you.
It would have been great.
Oh, I feel way better.
All
now.
right.
Thank you.
So the waivers.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Spontaneous congratulations.
This is Alyssa, Andy's favorite daughter, but I'm not here to talk about my dad. Owl, you are the greatest fantasy football champ in the world. Congrats on your victory over my dad.
Oh, thanks, sweetie.
Oh, man.
I don't.
There's one more to go.
I don't think we've ever
I have
had.
more kids. I am dead. I'm dead. Stop. He's already dead.
I mean, the show moments of the year. We're at the very end of the year, and I don't know how this doesn't get towards the footies.
It is. I mean, he's just. It's you know how like the Oscar people they put their movie out in December, like all the Chalamet talk for his the Bob Dylan movie, whatever it's called, movie. And they're like, oh, he's gonna win Best Actor. Like, yeah, we just kind of sneak it in at the end because that's when everyone is not really paying attention, but you are.
You guys want to talk waivers? Go ahead.
Sure. We can start at the running back position. Again, because this is Week 18, there's a bunch up in the air, and you're in a championship matchup. There's not a ton of names. I would say that the number one name right now, Khalil Herbert, the backup running back for the Cincinnati Bengals now. Again, this is up to Chase Brown's health.
Right.
If Chase Brown is healthy and he's going to play, Cincinnati needs to win this game. Then Khalil Herbert's irrelevant. Amir Abdullah is the other name. He was so great last week. They decided that he should be the guy at the end of the year instead of Alexander Madison. You know, you could have done this the whole season. Amir Abdullah was there.
A couple other combos. Michael Carter or Trey Benson, if Connor sits, or even if he doesn't, Carter might be okay. Pierce Strong, Deontay Foreman. Foreman had much more of the groundwork. He'll have the goal line work. Pierce Strong, the targets. In Cleveland, in a meaningless game.
And Raheem Blackshear.
Sure.
Have you any wool?
No, he is completely shaved clean. However, Chuba is on IR.
Oh,
so
the season's over, guys.
This is one of
Praise the
those
Lord.
where if you have to make a decision now, he might be the name to pick up on waiver day because you know he's going to be getting work and then wait later in the week for Khalil Herbert. Amir Abdullah got injured as well. I haven't seen anything on that.
Oh, God. I haven't either.
But those would be the running backs of note.
Wide receivers, Alec Pierce if Flacco starts. If Flacco doesn't start, I wouldn't start Pierce. Dobbs, 7 for 58 last week for Green Bay. Marvin Mims, hubba. Jason gave me his $100.
I sure did. And
8 for 103 last week.
Marvin Mims is very interesting. You know, if you look at the last, he's
been a top 6 receiver 2 of 4 weeks. Last 4 weeks.
You know, if you actually look at the last 6 games, he's on I don't know if you even are aware of this, some big plays in there, but he's on an over 1,000-yard pace for a full season over the last 6. So he's been more involved, and this is, again, a must-win for the Broncos.
The snaps, Mims is
it's a little
hard to
it's a little janky.
But the snaps the last 2 weeks are at 47%, where he's been a mid-20s type of a player. So has he solidified that spot? I don't think we know for sure. It's sketchy.
Malik Washington last week, 5 more targets if Waddle doesn't play, and the Dolphins need to win. It's the Jets game.
Yeah, and I mean we're still waiting on who is the quarterback. You're waiting on Jalen Waddle. The last news I saw on Waddle was actually more positive that he might play, and the news on Tua is seemingly negative.
Yeah, they are going to split first-team reps, but they're going to give more first-team reps to Tyler Huntley this week. So I think the expectation is that Tua's not able to go with that hip injury, and they can win this game. You know, they can win this game without Tua. So if you're going to make the playoffs, it would be better to have a healthy hip.
It'll be a big punch to the Achans if you get Huntley back in there. I don't know why I motioned that. Chiga Okonkwo at tight end last week, 7 more targets. I tweeted it. He just missed a 32-yard touchdown.
He didn't miss it. I don't think that's fair to Chig.
Because when you're like Rudolph missed him.
Yeah, there you go.
So
He didn't look super fast, though.
He had his guy totally beat.
Yeah, he had his guy.
But it's also
you got to give him a shot to make that catch.
But the grass was destroyed.
Yes, it was raining.
Players were slipping all over the place. Is your Okonkwo belief and faith still strong if you're like they're going to be rotating guys?
It's not amazing. I'd rather play Zach Ertz if he was out there 6 for 72 and 2 last week. Although, again, what's the consequential situation there for
Washington?
For Washington, Disley back out on the field. They need to win. Freiermuth, Pittsburgh. He was 7 for 60. That's an option.
I like the matchup is great against both.
It is.
Both Disley and Freiermuth this week have very, very good opposing defenses at the tight end position, and by that I mean they are poor.
Right.
They give up a lot of fantasy points.
Defensively, there are a lot of options. Again, all the waivers for Week 18 on the website. We've been sorting through them. TheFantasyFootballers.com, the waiver rankings. Defensively, you've got the Dolphins must win facing the hapless Jets offense. Dolphins defense has been pretty good lately. They gave up 3 points last week. They were a big scorer the week before. Broncos against Kansas City's backups. The Buccaneers must win against nobody. I mean, the Raiders put up 12 fantasy points against New Orleans last week. The Falcons against Carolina. Falcons must win. And then you could go with Houston against some Will Levis in that game.
And some starters for the Texans. That was announced that they're going to play their starters. Maybe at the end of the game they get benched, but a half against some Bananarama is enough for a touchdown.
Do you prefer Broncos, Buccaneers, or Dolphins? Their roster percentage is pretty close.
I'd prefer the
Dolphins.
I'd prefer the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, I think, are who I'd go with. But I mean, all three of those are just neck and neck.
They're good.
None of them should Colts you this week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily hit this button this week, but I feel like I've got to.
Full stream ahead.
Jay, we're still on the train.
We were on the train with the champ. That was a pretty good ride.
Streaming quarterbacks.
I'm sure they covered our tickets. Yeah.
Bryce Young against Atlanta.
I like him.
Let's do it. Mike pointed out yesterday that recently Bryce Young has had much better numbers than C.J. Stroud.
Since the return from the benching, he has been a much better fantasy quarterback.
How wild would it be? And I don't expect this to happen, but let's say you look back 5 years from now and Bryce Young is the clearly better pick than C.J. Stroud. That'll be an important lesson learned.
It was a 0% chance last year. It's at least a 10% chance now.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the return of Adam Thielen's and the factor that was in Bryce Young's success over the back half of the year. Adam Thielen has been available, performing, constantly scoring, even with Leggett hurt and other players hurt.
Thielen said he is planning to play into his 50s. So
a couple more years?
Yeah. He's got 2 more seasons.
You're going Flacco, A-Rich?
Yeah, I think the matchup against Jacksonville, Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson, whoever is going to be there should have enough fantasy points to throw into your lineup. I mean, motivation matters to a big degree, but really it's just a matter of all these games are going to get played. So if you know who's going to be playing, and in this game you'll know whether Anthony Richardson is healthy or whether it's Joe Flacco, you're going to have enough points scored here.
And I'm going with Russ against Cincinnati. You got to be locked into the news of what Mike Tomlin is saying is going to happen because we laid it out. They will know if they need to win the game or not to try and get the division. But the matchup is there. It's the second highest total of the week right now. And it's, Cincinnati. I mean, this is the team we want to play against.
Yep. There's your streamers this week, week 18. We'll take a break. We'll do some mailbag, and we'll shut this thing down. The only thing better than Mike being dragged in here is having to muster the energy for this.
Mailbag.
Ooh. How did you not make Jeremy do it? He's the champ.
I do what I want. And it's not that.
Oh,
it was interesting.
Oh, man. The britches are getting big.
The britches
I mean,
were prepped.
You can do whatever you want on your final day of work.
Shakalaka.
Yeah. Al That's at producer Borland for those that want to send their congratulations. I know. I think everyone in the world was rooting for you. So, and you know they have this saying, "Act like you've been there before." He hasn't. He doesn't know how to act. He doesn't know.
Am I doing it right?
Yeah. Unfortunately,
no, you're doing a
unfortunately,
great
you're
job.
doing it really well. Mailbag.
Yeah.
Yep. I got one more kid.
Spontaneous congratulations.
I knew this was coming.
Hey, Al. This is Nathan, Andy's son and League of Record co-owner. I may have lost the championship to you, but to be honest, a better man won. You may not be my dad, but you're my hero.
Yes.
Why would he do that?
Oh, man.
He's the one that should have rejected the fame.
Man.
Thank you so much, Nate.
Oh, my gosh.
He's
you
my
and your dad have
co-manager.
been
He's your
such gracious losers.
Your co-manager that just lost the championship.
Wow.
I mean, is he still the co-manager in 2025? That's an update we're going to need to get a hold of.
The Holloway blood is thicker than water. I mean, that changed rapidly.
Yeah.
They sold you down the river.
I thought this show was.
They got water in them veins.
I thought this show was going to be about Mike's failures.
What failures? All I see is a champ sparkling over in the alleyway.
Yeah, I've already moved
Unless
on.
I have a kid I don't know about, it should be over with.
You got to be thankful that at a certain age, our parents probably can't figure out how to record something.
Oh my gosh!
Get that in because that would have taken it over the top.
Oh my god! You did not write that for him?
I did not write any
Yes,
of these.
you did.
I promise you I did not.
Oh,
That
that's
just
my
means
wife.
You raised them right. You really did.
I'm not sure about that. Tim writes in from Instagram for our mailbag here because we're doing a mailbag. In your League of Record, is there anything else you guys compete for than a trophy? Well, this is a good example.
This is what you compete for so that you can do this.
Mm-hmm. There is no money on the line in the League of Record. 18
People are always
years
shocked about that.
It is actually very detrimental to your wallet to
gosh.
win.
I spent thousands of dollars
He
2 years
saved
ago.
me thousands of dollars.
Yeah, when I won the championship and had to, hire a Marilyn Monroe
Yeah.
and buy
Signs
20-foot
everywhere.
banners and
We're getting written up by the complex.
Yeah.
saying that we're not allowed to put banners up.
don't tell me what I can't do. I'm the champ, lady.
Yeah, you win negative money,
Yeah, but
I had already looked into
but it's
marching
great.
bands.
It's greatness.
yeah.
How if I could rent a few cheerleaders to cheer every pick?
Yeah, I don't know the civilian capability of getting a flyover, but I mean,
Luke Air Force Base is close.
Yeah.
I mean,
A flyover, bring everyone outside.
Hey, everybody, come out and check this out.
Oh man, no, we play for pride. We play for pride. Okay, this question is that all day.
all
day.
All
Besides trophies and other championship swag, how do you fellas have a tradition or ritual that you when you take home a fantasy title? We got in our office, we got shelves with the rings, the fantasy championship rings. I've got a banner that I hang up for draft day. Mike has one. Jason has one.
There are some years in specific spots where, I got a Mike Evans jersey because when, he scored 47,000 points in Week 17 and single-handedly won the championship. If there's a player like that, you might go out and get their jersey.
Mike had a RG3.
Oh yeah.
Mural, really, yeah. But there you go. Bobby MacArthur, where do Brian Thomas and Brock Bowers go in next year's redraft leagues? To me, they are both.
Bowers will be a 1-2 turn player. He'll be right at the end of the first round.
I think Thomas is right there too.
I do. Yeah,
I think they're right next to each other.
Some leagues people will reach at the end of the first. Otherwise, they'll be mid-second at the latest.
I'm not positive which of those two goes before each other.
They're both
think
superstars.
Bowers will go ahead of Brian Thomas.
Next year, we enter a new phase in the fantasy tight end universe. It's called Bowers or McBride. That's the phase. That's the new era. It's not Andrews and Kelsey. It's not Gronk and Kelsey.
Right.
It's Bowers, McBride.
And somehow Kittle will continue to be disrespected and drop to be like the fifth tight end.
And I'm sure
you're right. That will happen. CMC will come back and Ayuk will come back, and he will be
all the reasons.
It might be a good reason.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of discourse of, is Bowers going to Laporta? And to me, the answer is absolutely not. Of like Laporta, it was a really low-scoring tight end year last season, and it was not done on volume. It was done on touchdowns. Like where Laporta's coming through in the playoffs because he's scoring a bunch of touchdowns, where Brock Bowers is like he is a new Travis Kelce, where he's the focal point of the Raiders' offense for the foreseeable future.
It's not just the touchdowns. It's the ability to do other things.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Laporta, it's like, well, okay, they don't need him. Like if Laporta had a season-ending injury, not 1 point would be different in the Lions' outcome. It's sad to say that, and that's not trying to say Laporta's not a good player. He's a very, very good player, but they just have too many other options. Amon-Ra can step up. The running game is great. The other receivers, now all of a sudden Tim Patrick becomes a thing. Brock Bowers has
Allen Robinson.
Yeah, he did.
Like,
He's catching passes.
Brock Bowers has no competition. I mean, none. It's like Jacoby Myers.
They might have more after the draft.
But even if they do, Bowers. Like,
they'll have a rookie quarterback, too. That'll be something that you'll have to factor in. They will have a new quarterback.
Bowers has 1,150 yards with a game left, and Laporta last year finished the season at 17 games with under 900 yards.
There's no world where you take McBride next year with Bowers.
No, I am.
Rookie quarterback over. Is McBride a first-round pick then?
He could be close. Like this wasn't an argument of McBride. This was he's not going to Laporta.
I think some of the I get that. Yeah, and it's funny. Laporta and Andrews were very similar this year, where the starts of the seasons and the ends were very different. I completely agree with the fact that he's not going to Laporta. He's a PPR guy. But I do wonder, because Bowers and McBride are together, the times that we saw Gronk and Kelce go in the first round, as high as 5 or 6, was because they were kind of
alone.
They were alone.
Yeah.
And so I think that puts Bowers and McBride more in the mid-second round range.
You might be right.
I think that's because if I were going into the draft genuinely, I would just take the cheaper one.
Sure.
Well,
it's not like McBride and Bowers. What's the reception difference between them? I mean, 108 versus 100?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Despite the touchdowns not coming for McBride, you would think that there will be more touchdown opportunities with Kyler at quarterback than a rookie quarterback.
McBride has 104 receptions. Bowers is at 108. McBride and also McBride is 1 game fewer. So like McBride's at 15 games.
If you take the midpoint of the season, McBride's pace is 143 receptions. Bowers' pace is 123. So both of them have even been stronger in the second half of the year, and McBride will score in the future if you want to look at that positive regression narrative.
Yeah, we talk about touchdowns not being a sticky stat. We'll talk about it this offseason, the fact that, McBride doesn't have touchdowns. That means nothing for the future. Best example here is James Cook. It's like, he doesn't, he's a good back. He just doesn't ever get touchdowns. And now he's about to possibly break O.J. Simpson's record for most rushing touchdowns. If he plays.
And then, like, the beginning of Travis Kelce's career, 5, 5, 4. Then it went up, and you had a run where he's hitting double-digit touchdowns.
Last one here. Jonathan wants to know, I'm thinking about my keepers. Jalen Hurts, do I move on to Jaden Daniels? He has both on the roster.
Wow.
I had to ask this one. It's like a great question to set the table for an off-season of shows where these type of questions will be popping up.
I
would rather have Jaden Daniels going forward.
I do not doubt at all that Jaden Daniels goes ahead of Jalen Hurts next year. I would rather keep Hurts simply because we have enough years, year after year after year, where we know that Jalen Hurts is going to be good. We know what his weapons are, his offensive line, the system. Like, if you go, well, how does it fail next year? Okay, if the tush-push gets outlawed this offseason, I would be willing to change it. But for the most part, we know he's going to be great. There is the potential that next year things get figured out or things get worse in the sophomore season for Jaden Daniels. So it's just a safety thing because both players are awesome. I lean the Hurts side.
I will lean Daniels by a hair. Fantasy points per game this year, 25.1 to 23.4. There's always the opportunity for a rookie to get better.
We do have a piece of news that actually is important for waivers. Browns running back Pierre Strong is in the concussion protocol.
Deonta Foreman slides up the waiver list.
Deonta Foreman is, he's in a really, really bad situation, but the running backs are right now a flow chart of injuries where
This is why
you know that
18
Foreman's going to get the ball a lot. Can he do anything against the Ravens? I don't know.
There you go. All right. Week 18's tough, guys. Week 18's tough.
Yep.
Not as tough as getting through this show.
It's been great.
But we did it.
I think you redeemed Mike's spirits.
Oh, I'm cheered up. I'm good. I'm on to 2025.
And do I have permission to close this out, or do you have any relatives of mine that you have summoned up? My parents aren't here to walk in and.
I did text your dad. He never responded.
Oh my gosh.
So we're all set, man.
Probably thought you were spam. Probably blocked you. Goodbye, everybody. Congratulations, Al. New Year's tomorrow. No show. We'll be back Thursday.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.